Welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Nichel Anderson. I'm your host for my podcast show, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond. And today's episode, March the 2nd, 2020, we have character profile, which is King Dumah. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into this. I'm going to start off with my introduction here that I like to do with my podcast. If you're just there joining me, this is my ability to do what I love, which is writing, and it's mostly focused on by my book Mitsrayim, a memoir which deals with ancient Egypt. So I talk about that in a theatrical production, which is MOLIAE, Moments of Love in Ancient Egypt. That was based on the book that I wrote over 2 decades now, and it has become a theatrical production. Right now we're focusing on returning back to stage for the 3rd time. It is the prestige return of the MOLIAE Stageplay, and so if you're interested in purchasing tickets, next month would be the one dates. It's April the 25th to the 26th, and it would be a link in the description here as well. You can find information on the website molie.com. Let's go ahead and get started with this particular focus. So I want to cover a couple other things. First thing I would like to go over is for us to talk about stay connected. So I have a YouTube channel for MOLIAE. I really need to focus on that. Once I get through the stage play, if not sooner, I gotta really focus. I just use that as a database to send. Now mostly my audio clips is one of the places I send my database of audio podcasts here, and as well any video clips I did. I use this links uploaded on YouTube, and I basically just promote it on Facebook. So I mainly promote the social platform of MOLIAE, which is facebook.com/MOLIAE or twitter.com/MOLIAE. And I just use that as, I never really promoted it, and I really need to do that, and I am. So help me out, subscribe to the YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/MOLIAE. I appreciate that. Also follow us on Facebook, our Facebook page, as well as Twitter. Okay, so stay connected. Appreciate that. The other thing is to focus on the cafe press. Okay, so I have merchandise now. All of this going on with the production of going back to stage, which stage is a lot to be able to tie everything together and get that on track there. The merchandise. At the time of the stage play, there will be merchandise available. In the meantime, if you want to purchase this now, or you're not able to come to the play, which, I can understand. Hopefully you can, but if you can't, but you still want to get some of the merchandise, I have a cafe press. I network with them. I have a page there. It's tied to this podcast here, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond, and then also MOLIAE has their own shop on Cafe Press. So it's cafepress.com/ and you type in the name MOLIAE or the name of this podcast. Go ahead and check that out. Support the podcast that way. They do ship worldwide. They do have a customer service line as well, and a return policy, I believe. So go ahead and take a look at that and support that way the brand. Okay, so we talked about that, and now we're going to talk about the highlights. So the highlights today is about a particular character that's very significant in Aamina's life. It's very significant to the whole storyline of Mitsrayim, a book that I wrote. We're going to focus on that today. The recap from the last time I released was basically on Nahar. Please go check that out. I did talk to provide some information on his overall personality, his character, his purpose, his mission. So go ahead and check that out. That's what I talked about would have been last month. Since I'm bi-monthly now, which I have to say, I'm not sure about everybody else. I know I was doing it weekly for 2 years, but this does give me time to focus on other things. I do want to expand the brand. I do want to do other things, and doing the podcast is you have to be dedicated. You have to be very interested in it, and I am. And I didn't want to get burned out, but more importantly, I didn't want to be able to not focus on the other things. I want to not just plant that seed, because the seed has been planted, but to water it so it can grow. But to grow, you have to kind of be in tune and do other things. So this bi-monthly thing here that I decided to do, distributing bi-monthly, is the best decision for me now, as I see other people finding out more about MOLIAE, finding about my other projects, and supporting that, and I'm thankful. And I want to thank too for those that have bought my book, have told someone else to buy my book. I feel you. I know you're doing it, and I just want to say thank you. I know I do say that a lot, but I'm always grateful for people when they make a choice to say, you know, I'm gonna go ahead and take the time, look up the book, actually purchase the book, and then on top of that, I'm going to tell somebody else about it. I actually read my book, connect with it, and still tune into my podcast. I am so grateful for that. That's a lot of effort. So I'm grateful for your being in tune. So let's get to this podcast. King Dumah. I'm going to say that again. King Dumah. Let's start at the beginning timeline of Mitsrayim, my book. So again, like I said, the first page, Nichel came out the gate. It was his moment. And then Aamina. And then Dumah, when he came through, I just remember thinking, oh my goodness, he is like a spicy bowl. I would say soup, but it's a thick soup. And he has all these layers. Now, in the future series of the podcast, the future series of Nichel and Princess Aamina, he didn't feel that way. He's more calm, more in tune. I'm going to find out later, of course, as Spirit allowed me to find out how did he, initially he came that way because King Kohane, and he got the rulership when King Kohane, went to the heavens. And so that was the arrogant. But in the book, like I said, he just came out very arrogant. So let's just get through some data points on King Dumah. Who is he? Well, basically turning the same age of Princess Aamina and Nichel and Samuel at the time of the stage play that's returning back, the MOLIAE Stageplay, and of the book. Dumah is the younger brother of Daniel, that at the time of the book, he's already King Daniel, but he's over the Kadesh area, which is in the Mediterranean area to the north of Egypt that we're calling now. And so Dumah hasn't really entered the timeline of the podcast series before the time of Princess Aamina that started my podcast in 2017. Due to that, of course, because like Aamina and him has not really been born yet. Only the older brother, Daniel. Okay, and Daniel comes on the scene in 2018 in December of that month when I did the short of the shorts. So check that out. And he came on the scene with King Kohane. He was there, and then King Malan, when King Malan was going down to the south of the Congo. Okay, let's see. So it is Dumah with the same mother as Daniel that rises to rulership. Not farther. I'm thinking it came through that King Daniel, of course, became ruler, and then years later than Dumah thereafter. So Dumah inherits a rulership of Zimbabwe. He's a young king after King Kohane, and he gets all of these resources. He'd be able to get, I think power just probably corrupted him. Let me just put it out there. It's coming through because he comes on very arrogant at the time of the play of the book, and he uses his power as king that make decisions, that his decisions over time impacted his standing of managing his resources. Thus the pressure and the conflict and in dealing with the Orions. See, the Orions came through when I wrote the book through Dumah, and that would be Kishi, Goer, and Onki. Right? Those are the three that would be in the play. Those are the three that branches off from Hani from the podcast series of Before the Time of Princess Aamina and Echo. So Dumah grew up around Princess Aamina, and of course it seemed, and Nichel was there, and Dumah spent time traveling to Egypt, going to the Mystery School of Thought as well. So he got to see Princess Aamina and spent time together. Of course, Nichel got more because him and Aamina was born as Egyptians, Mitsrayim. King Dumah, he's a fighter. He's very persistent into getting what he wants. So he took rulership at such a young age that I think the whole power and the loss now is coming through. Just sitting here thinking about it, it just enthralled him. Because when you have that much power and that position and that territory, those resources, you have so many people coming at you because they want it or they want to be a part of it. So it's like giving and giving and giving, and sometimes when you get things so much, you don't appreciate it. And I think that's the lesson for Dumah. This is so cool. This is so real because, like I said, I've been working and doing this, and then I focus on it, then I got to move on to something else. These are the times this podcast is helping me to kind of look at the characters and learn more layers of the lesson that my ancestors was giving me to write this book. Deal was set between King Kohane and King Malan, and it comes full circle by the time after King Kohane is off the scenes and Dumah inherits the property based on bad decisions and messing around with the alliance, Kishi in particular, and Gu and Onki, that he focuses on this deal. He needs the deal to continue on. And so him with King Milan and Queen Hagar forges this alliance to keep the deal in place because they have their own reasoning for the deal to go through. And then Princess Aamina, of course, complies at a young age. And it just brings tension over time when King Daniel was on the scene, his older brother. If I had to describe Dumah, I wouldn't say he's confused. I just think he feels that he can create his destiny how he wants. So his choices overrides everyone else. So like, get out the way. I got this. Get out the way. If you don't get out the way, I'll make you get out my way. His boldness. Because see, in the beginning, King Dumah, now I'm talking about, I just feel, I don't know, there's a wave. Oh my goodness, a wave just came over me. Talking about Dumah. I don't know, I can explain that. I think when I sit here and do this, I'm actually tuned into spirit. It's the same way as when I sit here and I write, my director knows, or I write out what I'm going to do. So anyway, just talking about Dumah. But in the beginning, they were close. I'm talking about Aamina and him, Dumah, in the sense that they understood. They had things in common of being children of a king, and of a king and queen, of rulers, and going to the same mystery school of thoughts. So they had the same experiences somewhat. The times that he got to spend time with Aamina in Mitsrayim. And I say that even though that didn't really get to show in the future series of Nichel or Princess Aamina, but like as I mentioned, I saw scenes of what I could not write that fit within that bonus time frame, and what I have not written about her journey that I'm just learning, right, doing the series, that she actually went off. Because when I wrote the book, it's based on her on the cusp of turning 19 and bear, and that's the deal that she would marry King Dumah. Doing a podcast is allowed me to go further and read and go here and go there on the whole timeline. But I didn't realize until the future series of Nichel and Princess Aamina that she actually went off, where future rulers have to go to another trial and challenges and experiences to prepare her. And there is a scene that I saw that I have to write about, that she meets up with Dumah, because Dumah has to do the same thing. It might be in a separate place in Egypt, but they do the same thing, and they bond and they connect, and then it's like reinforcing of the scenes I have not written about of their relationship as children and how they formed the trust. And it was one scene that he's talking about his stepfather, King Kohane, and that's the moment where he's actually opening up to her, showing his emotion, showing his being afraid, I'm not sure of the future with his stepfather, and possible the change that he has to lead and how he wants to achieve. So all this was revealed to her, and they're talking, because you don't say that to people, just to anybody. You say that to somebody that you trust, that you admire. And that's a scene that I have not written, but it's a beautiful scene, I have to say. Even with Dumah, as he got older and very arrogant and did Aamina wrong, but it shows that I think experiences changed him. And then he doesn't stay, I guess they path cross, like his school or whatever, or his leadership, or they pass each other path, and then it's like they stay together in this secret location in the Sudan, and then he moves on, right? But it's that time to show that hasn't been written when they was younger, playing together and forming this relationship and forming this trust. Of course, in the future, it is broken. You got to find out how, and does it ever get repaired? But it does show at this age, and by that time they're from 12 to 14 before they return back, and that's when his life changed, when they leave this 2 years of this higher level of thought of experience. Their life changed, their relationship changed. Aamina doesn't see it yet, and this is kind of expressed in the play, but she does see it towards the end. And it's hard because your relationship is broken, your reality and all of that changes, so it's very hard to accept. It just showed me a part of Dumah, of how he was sweet and understanding and thoughtful, and he connected. He got emotional. I saw he got emotional. I felt it. And how Aamina consoled him when they was talking. Mama, they're about 14 now. and I haven't described the location, but I just seemed it was somewhere. I see a lot of sand, I see hills, I see rivers, I see caves. So there's somewhere in the Sudan getting this extra training, and their paths meet, like his group meet up with hers or something like that. I felt sorry for Dumah because he's afraid of the future, because he actually feels, because he has higher senses too, like she does, and they have that moment, which, oh my gosh, I just said moment, which is the play, the title of the play, Moments of Love in Ancient Egypt. And these was moments of their relationship, their bonding, their friendship. They was friends, and all of that. So at any rate, let me do a reveal in this Time of the Future series of Nichel Princess Aamina. Actually, I think I did the reveal. I just told it that I'm gonna come back to future series where I'm focusing on, because that's the timeline. I gotta focus on Dumah and kind of take that away, in a sense, bringing Dumah more into the fold, but just sharing that he goes on the same journey as her to be rulership, and how their relationship, and it's that moment where they're together. Nahara's not there, and of course Nahara's in Egypt, but where Aamina and Dumah formulates their years of childhood of knowing one another. But that would be mainly the last moments that they could be real, that he could be honest with her, that he can share these moments, that he cannot be so arrogant and self-centered. And from that, their friendship won't be the same anymore. It changes. It really changes. And that sets up to the book and sets up to the play. Moments of Love in Ancient Egypt. All right. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please buy your tickets. Thank you.